Hi everyone, my name's Roxanne.
Hi, my name is Mel.
The channel name for my YouTube channel is The Guy's Life.
My channel name is Melissa Harden. It's just my name.
I am 28 years old and from Canada.
I'm 19 and I'm from the UK.
My husband and I, we have 4 children together. They are ages 4, 3, 18 months old, and 3 weeks old.
I'm a first-time mum-to-be and I'm 12 weeks pregnant with my first. Okay, so we are teaming up together today to bring to you a Q&A from an experienced mum to a first-time mum. So I've asked her 6 questions and she has responded to them. Okay, so my first question was, what did you buy for our newborns that you did not end up needing?
This is such a great question. So basically there were a few items that we had for our newborns that we didn't really use. And so one of them would be a change table. With our first son, we used a change table maybe a handful of times. And for our second, we didn't use it at all. And we never invested in one at all for our third and fourth child. Basically what we did in turn of a change table, we had a changing pad, and so we would just lay that out either on the bed, on the couch, or even on the floor when it was coming time to change our children. Another thing would be a crib. Yes, this is quite shocking and surprising probably because a lot of people do honestly use cribs. What we ended up doing is we used a bassinet for all of our children. They actually stayed in the room with us at least for a minimum of about, I would say, 5 months. And then each of them were different time frames. So I would say the least was about 5 months. And we had children go straight from a crib to a double mattress on the floor. And we had, I shouldn't say that, we used a playpen. So I guess you can consider that kind of like a crib. But we used a playpen which had like a bassinet top. With our son, which is 18 months, and now he still is using the playpen. And as you see behind me, we have another kind of compact playpen, which has the bassinet top, which this one is amazing as well. If you have any questions, I can gladly give you the link to what we're using currently and do kind of an unreveal of that. But basically, that's what we've done. So we never really actually used a crib. And actually for our third, for our 18-month-old and with our daughter here, we never invested in an actual crib because we knew that we never really used that much in the first two. Another item that I would say would be a swing. So my first 2 kids never liked a swing at all. They absolutely did not like it. With our third child, our son, we actually didn't even invest in a swing because I figured we had one and we never used it. They didn't like it. So my fear was I don't want to buy one and then it's being a waste again. Now, with our daughter, I invested in kind of like a glider. It's like a swing. It reclines and it glides side to side, forward. It has music, sounds, nature sounds, and it has also the vibration. And that one I did invest a little bit more in, and the reason being was just because we have a few other kids and she had to be a little more independent. I couldn't have her in my arms all the time. I have an 18-month-old. He's still quite needy. So that was my reasoning for that. And lastly, I would say newborn outfits. If your child when born is not newborn but in 0 to 3 month, let's say, outfits, I would say outfits itself. In the first little bit, I know personally, and even a lot of my mom friends, the babies are in sleepers. So I say definitely invest in some outfits. You want to have to dress them up and get when you're going out especially. So I would say definitely have some outfits on hand when they're born, but I wouldn't invest too much in that initial size for the first maybe month or 2. As they get older, you'll start to dress them up a little bit more. And again, that may vary from parent to parent. So again, this is just what worked for us and what was invested in, and what didn't really work for us. And again, that might just be a variation from parent to parent as well.
Thank you for that response. It's really interesting that you say about the cot, because you'd think that that would be an essential. We are planning on going with the next to me crib, so we're wanting to co-sleep. So it's interesting that there's other options other than a crib. I hadn't really thought about that, so that's really interesting. So my next question is, did you co-sleep?
The short answer to this question is yes, I do co-sleep. And I have. With my first two, I didn't as much. With our third child, we did a lot more up until maybe about 3 months ago. He is now just full-time sleeping on his own. And with Maya, our newborn, well, she's 3 weeks old, I do co-sleep with her a little bit. My husband is not usually in the bed, although we have a big king-size bed. I think it's just a little bit of fear that we hurt her. And I'm a light sleeper, but my husband is more of a heavy sleeper. So I would say that that's why. But we basically do co-sleep. I'm not against it. Everyone's going to have their personal views with this. And for me, it's very easily said, like, I don't mind. And I think for me, what's easiest is that because I do nurse my children, it's easier at night for me to just have them beside me when it's time to feed.
Okay, thank you. So the next question kind of follows on, and that's, what age were your children when they moved into their own beds?
All right, so our oldest son started sleeping on his own. He was about, I'd say, 6 months old. He went directly from a bassinet into a mattress on the floor, a double mattress on the floor. We tried him in the crib. It just didn't work. He didn't like it. And when we switched him to the mattress on the floor, he was like night and day, slept amazing. Our second son was about the same age. I'd say maybe about 5 months old. He started sleeping on his own, in his own bed as well. And I should say a mattress on the floor. He was like the first one. And our third, he's just basically sleeping on his own now, and it's been about 2 to 3 months. And from there, before we were pretty much co-sleeping, where he'd sleep maybe a few hours in his bed, type of thing. So he just basically started full-time sleeping on his own within the last couple months, and he's now 18 months old.
Okay, thank you. I guess the next question is, what do you do to relax?
So how I like to fit in me time, relax time on a daily basis, is I'd have to say would be when my children go to bed at night. So my kids are typically in bed by 7:30 at night. We are very routine here. That works great for us. And once they go to bed, that is my unwind time. So whether I just spend some quality time with my husband, I just sit down and do absolutely nothing, or I take a nice warm bath, that is my time to me, and I need that to unwind. I'm not gonna lie, it's very busy with the kids here, and the boys have a lot of energy. They are non-stop and they're very hyper. And so at night, I do need that time for me and just to unwind and have some quiet time. It doesn't happen often that I'm without the kids either, so I have them pretty much with me at all times, other than if they go to school or whatnot. But again, so I do need that little bit of time. Sometimes in the day too, I will have, when my 18-month-old naps, the baby obviously sleeps a lot still. And even if my 3-year-old is with me, it's still quiet. And I'll just sometimes just sit down and have my coffee and sit by the big window in the house and where the sun beams in the afternoon, and that's some quiet time for me as well. And that does happen sometimes, but I tend to be on the go quite a bit, so I do need to learn to pace myself a little bit and take a little bit more time for me to relax and unwind. But I have a very hard time with that because I like to get things done, and I know that if I have something to do, I don't like to leave it, and I want to do it right away.
Okay, thanks for that. It's nice to know that you made that time for yourself. So question number 5 is, how do you budget for Christmas?
This is another great question. I think that this answer could vary based on family income or ages of children. In terms of having a budget, I would say that we set a set amount per child. And this set amount can vary though. So for the older children, I would say would be the same amount. But if your child is younger, especially like under a year, and they don't really know or understand, or, it's not that same concept with them, then I would say the younger would definitely have a much less and cheaper budget. Now, as the kids become older, I think that this could change. They obviously, they see other kids wanting or having such expensive things. So I believe that this may be something that would change later on, and our budget would be obviously greater as they get older, and we now have 4 kids. We don't save in advance at this point for holidays. Now, I think, again, that may be something that would change later on in the future, is that we would maybe start saving a bit in advance for this. But at this time, it's not something we've had to do. I do shop online a lot and look for a lot of deals. So I make a list of what they like or need, and then I look around on multiple sites to see the best possible deal that I can get. And sometimes I do start a few months in advance, and if I can get an extremely good deal, then this is something that I will go ahead and purchase. And so that's basically how we go about for our holidays. And in terms of choosing like how many gifts, it's not for how many. Obviously, like we do is a budget. For example, $200 per children. So we would maybe do, one big gift for them, and then a few smaller gifts, and then things that they need. So clothing, shoes, stuff like that. We do know that as they're younger, they outgrow that stuff so much. And so they're always needing stuff. So we always incorporate a few things that they need in with their gifts. And that's how we go about budgeting for Christmas.
Okay, so that's really interesting how you budget for Christmas. It's really quite strange actually, because obviously I'm expecting my child in November, so we've got like a month until Christmas. So I was really not sure what I was going to, get him or her, because you make the point of they're not going to understand what's going on. So I think we will just be doing a simple Christmas with not a lot of gifts, but more essentials that the baby needs. Okay, so my last question is more of a personal question, and that's, how did you feel having a baby girl after having 3 boys? I know that I would feel ecstatic. I mean, I love boys, but it's nice to have a variety.
So finding out that we were having a daughter after having 3 boys was a lot of mixed emotions. I was super excited. I was obviously extremely happy and couldn't wait to dress the little girl. And I didn't have fear, but I didn't know, I didn't know much about girls. I'm a mom of 3 boys previously. And so there was a lot of mixed emotions to come with it. Now, when I knew from seeing that ultrasound, I could tell for sure that it was a girl, and then we got the confirmation, I was happy. And I was very emotional about it as well, because we obviously have had a few losses, and our one loss specifically was a girl. And I felt that after having 3 boys, like I was never going to be able to give that gift to my husband of having a girl again. And that loss really came hard on us after finding out it was a girl. Obviously, we had a few losses and we already had some boys. And so it was a little tough. Now, after my 3rd, during the pregnancy with my 3rd, I thought that was done. I had a bit of a rough pregnancy and I felt, this is it. I can't do this anymore, and I feel like this is it for us. But as soon as I delivered him, like literally I would say within hours, in my mind, I knew I was going to have another child. Like, I did not feel like the family was complete. And I remember I kept telling my husband, we are going to have a daughter. And I remember telling him that, but in my mind thinking, okay, is my chance already over? I have had a daughter, and am I going to have that chance again? But long story short, ended up being a girl, and I knew it was such a different feeling. And my husband was so happy, although he never verbally said it. I could just tell by the emotion he had when finding out it was a girl. And then upon delivering her was a total different thing. And a daughter, I would say, really changes a man or a father. And I wouldn't change it. You know, we had 3 boys, and I would never have changed that. And regardless if our 4th was a girl or a boy, then that would be it. But long story short, how did we feel? We felt excited. It felt surreal still, and I always remember saying this one thing in pregnancy: they can always make mistakes during the ultrasound. And so there was always that little doubt in my mind that what if it came out to be a boy? But she's a girl, and we're excited. We're extremely happy. The boys are over the moon. They have been excited since day one, mainly our oldest one. And then our 3-year-old, he became more and more excited, especially in the last couple months. And they're just very, very happy.
Okay, so thanks for that. Obviously, it's hard to have losses. But you finally got your baby girl, which is amazing. I'm really, really happy for you. She's beautiful. I can see her in the cot thing next to you. Okay, so that's the end of the video, guys. So both of our YouTube links will be in the descriptions. And I hope that you will check both of our channels out. It's been really, really fun working with another mum. Especially an experienced one. It's been quite a fun Q&A to do, as well with her being Canadian, me being English. With the time difference, it's been interesting, but we've managed it, and I hope that you enjoy this content. So give us a big thumbs up if you did, and hop over to each of our channels and subscribe for more. Okay.